Hello and welcome to episode 295 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
The Wall 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter, and we're on Spotify and YouTube. Please subscribe.
Jack Williams is here.
Hello, everybody.
And Dan Bayliss.
Hello.
Harry, we start with, really difficult, isn't it, when you have a game like this that goes through the 90 minutes, goes through what seemed like a lifetime of extra time, lose on penalties, and we're sort of starting at the end, if that makes sense, because I suppose the talking point from the whole game is Cunha's red card, which I think we'll get onto, but I think we've got to start at the beginning. So a couple of changes. Sam Johnson in goal. Giga makes his full debut. Bueno, Totti, Gomez, Semedo, João Gomez, Bellegarde, Nori, Sarabia, Cunha and Strand Larsen. A pretty strong team to begin with, but Bournemouth were out for revenge.
Yeah, I thought he'd go quite strong, and he did. I thought he would start Sarabia, though, so that didn't actually surprise me on the day. Obviously, the argument of whether Manetzi would start, he didn't. And first half, let's be honest, we got battered. It should have been 2 or 3-0. We somehow survived it and only being 1-0 down. Had a couple of chances, but nothing to write home about. And then second half, we did okay. It was quite kind of similar, but a moment of magic from Cunha gets us to extra time. And look, it was just attack against defence, wasn't it, most of the game? But I've been saying to some people, like, Bournemouth are flying high in the Premier League. They're, on the verge of the top 4, top 6. And we're not. We're 17th. So I saw people going mad at Vitor for saying, why didn't he try and go and win it? They're a better team. And we did the right thing, and we were 1 kick away from winning the game on penalties. So I weren't having that. At the end of the day, they're a better team than us. We're struggling, and I thought tactically he got it right, and we nearly shithoused it. But in the end, the team that were much better on the day did go through.
Dan, Sam Johnson in goal. He is the cup keeper, of course. I've given Jose Sarr a lot of stick this season, and I think Johnson's performance in that game was pretty phenomenal. I mean, there were standout moments in it, and Cunha's goal is certainly one of them. What did you think of Johnson's performance first, before I got to Jack?
I thought he played pretty well. I thought Bournemouth did have a few chances, but I thought they were a little bit toothless, and Wolves missed a great opportunity. I thought second half we didn't actually play too badly against a half-decent side. Scored a good goal and then looked in the game and could have gone on to win it and didn't take our chances, and then chaos ensued.
Jack, what did you think of Cunha's performance? Because, I mean, a lot of people in the week, I can't remember who was saying that goal belongs in the Champions League, not the FA Cup. I mean, it was a phenomenal finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, can't take anything away from him. It was a great goal. And to be honest, like, it came a little bit out of nowhere. I know we were a little bit better second half, but I think I agree with what the other sort of guys have said, in that I think on the balance of play, particularly for the whole game plus extra time, we did not deserve to be the team that went through. The problem is that obviously we ended up having a great chance of doing it somehow. And obviously we'll talk about the penalty shootout and that in a minute. And Cunha is the person who had that moments of brilliance who got us into that position. So without him, I don't think we really particularly looked like scoring that much. I was a bit disappointed with the way that we didn't really try to win it in normal time, and we just sat back so much. And in extra time, it was even worse. It was like we were playing for penalties from basically the 91st, 92nd minute, but we got ourselves back into that position because of a moment of brilliance from our talisman. When looking up and down the team, there's lots of players there who didn't particularly perform overly well, I don't think. But so we're in that position, and then it's just really I don't know what's happened, because it's just a moment of stupidity, isn't it? And it's a real kick in the teeth for him to do it that late in the game. It's so stupid, because it's 120 minutes on the clock, for God's sake. The game is over. It's going to penalties. You're going to have to step up, and I know we're putting pressure on you, but you scored a goal in normal time. You're going to be a penalty taker. And ultimately, you just start kicking off about something and nothing, really. The reaction was just so over the top. It was over the top to begin with before he put his head in, but it's over the top from basically a shirt pull. And watching that back, you could say there's probably 2 red cards in there in that chain of events. And he just doesn't help himself. It's just so stupid to react like that in so late on in the game, when you should have no energy. You shouldn't have the energy for that. You should be knackered at that point. So I don't know what's happened, or like, you can't excuse it, really. It's just so stupid. And we were making excuses for him sort of after the Ipswich incident, saying, it's so out of character, it's not like him, blah, blah, blah. But he's done it again a few months later. And the knock-on effects, not just on us potentially winning that penalty shootout, but for the rest of the season, it's going to be massive. And it really is. I'm just so disappointed. It really is inexcusable. And ultimately, like the results that we got on Saturday. So we went to extra time, lost on penalties despite having a penalty to win it. And now Cunha's got a ban of at least 3 games, potentially more. That is the worst possible outcome from that game on Saturday. I'd rather have just played the kids and got battered 4-0. Because at least then we can go fresh for the games we've got coming up, which are, what we said it before here, are the most important games that are going to make or break our season, the next 4 or so. So I just don't know what you do with him. It really is inexcusable. It's completely let his fans down, his teammates down, the manager down. It's just inexcusable.
100%. And Harry, I know the substitutions came late and maybe people were getting a little bit leggy during extra time, and obviously that's to be expected and stuff. But like Jack alluded to there, is it a pattern of behaviour now that you think that obviously Vitor came in, replacing Gary O'Neill, instilled a little bit more discipline into the side. But it was just a heads gone moment, wasn't it? I mean, as Jack said, there's probably 2 red cards. I'd argue there's probably more because, I mean, there was kicking, there was swinging, there was obviously the headbutt, which culminated in the actual red as well.
Yeah, I think it's ego. It's a lot of things. It's frustration because what we found out after as well, he actually was carrying a hamstring injury throughout the whole of extra time. So that's why he was just stood up there not doing much really. And they were pulling his shirt and that, but it was such an overreaction. And like you say, we've got like 20 seconds to go before it's penalty shootout. All I could think was, does he want an holiday or something? I just can't why is he doing it? Like, it just don't make sense at all. The Ipswich one was a real dark time, wasn't it? Really bad time under Gary O'Neill. We'd lost a big game against a relegation rival. This one, it's an FA Cup tie. He's just scored a worldie. Our fans are on a high, hoping we cling on. You've got the likes of Toti Gomez and Sam Johnson pulling off absolute heroics in extra time to get us to the penalties. Last-ditch saves, blocks, bodies on the line. And then, like Jack said, he's just let all his teammates down. He's let Vitor down. He's let all those fans down that travelled down there. He's let us plastics down who are watching it on a stream. And, it's just completely unexcusable behaviour. And he's a great bloke off the pitch. There's no doubt about it. When you see him off behind the scenes, real nice bloke, it seems like. That stuff he did with that junior, the little boy who was poorly, and he did the celebration for him again. Unbelievable. But his ego on the pitch and his pettiness and the way he throws his arms around, thinks his shit don't stink, and he don't put the graft in. We've been saying for a good month now, since the beginning of January, he just walks around and hardly tries. But because he's so good at football, those little moments he does try and his quality, he gets away with it, and we let him get away with it. But I think there's comes to a point where you just say, nah, mate, if you're going to do that, fuck off. I don't care how good you are. If you're not going to be a team player, we'll use your money to get 3 or 4 good players in and try and replace you that way. But yeah, if we do manage without him, I hope he comes back and tries his best anyway, even if we're safe by that point. If we're not, I hope he can pull us out of it. And just on the FA Cup as well, I was gutted we went out. What's the matter?
Sorry, I was laughing at that.
Laughing at Bayless doing
Sorry, as I was saying, the FA Cup, I'm not having all these fans saying we should have just played the kids. I'm bored of just being a mid-table. I don't want us to be a mid-table Premier League team. I don't want us to be surviving relegation every year. You're a football fan to win things. The reality is we are shit, but it was a really, really good chance to at least get to the semi-final this year. I know Bournemouth drew Man City in the draw, but that doesn't happen. The butterfly effect. We might not have got Man City if we'd have won. And I just wanted to win it so bad. I wanted to have the taste of Wembley again. And I just think it's so boring when fans are like, play the kids, concentrate on the Premier League. The 3 teams below us are shit. We could have managed a couple of extra games, get into Wembley. I know the squad's had a few injuries, but I just hate that attitude. And I'm not the biggest fan of what the FA Cup's become, but I want to see our club win things. So for people to say they're happy we're out of it and wish we played the kids, it's a load of bollocks in my opinion.
Dan, do you agree with Harry there? I know you sort of disappeared for a second there, but it's a really, really good opportunity, I think, to sneak into the potential of European football via the back door. And obviously, as Harry said, we may not necessarily have got Man City as Bournemouth have in the next round. But when we're talking about Cunha's attitude, I mean, you play a lot of sport, you follow a lot of sport that isn't just football. You don't really get that in cricket and rugby and
you get the odd one that's
like
got. You do get the odd one,
but what I'm saying is that I think it separates very good players from being the top players. Is that ability versus attitude? They sort of come hand in hand. And do you think? Potential clubs like the Arsenals and the Liverpools and Man Uniteds of the world who are sniffing around Cunha in January would be looking at him now and going, okay, let's have a look at his disciplinary record. Right, okay, he's robbed some stewards' glasses in an Ipswich, after the Ipswich game. He's got some people by the throat. He's swinging punches during an FA Cup tie and literally getting carried down the tunnel. I mean, I think, Jack, you made the joke that one good reason to have Craig Dawson would be that you'd have someone to carry Cunha down the tunnel when it's all kicking off. And obviously we don't have that anymore. So it's a little bit of a struggle for everybody to get him off the pitch. But what do you think about his attitude, and do you think it'll impact the summer move?
Me or Jack?
You. I thought we talked to you.
Okay. Probably will, to be fair. He's now going to miss the end of the season, isn't he, really? And the important games. And yes, he's been absolutely fantastic, and he's clearly brilliant off the pitch, as Harry said. He's a very talented player that could play top-level football, but he might have just lost himself his own big magic move to a huge club, because at the same time, this could be what puts us back in trouble. I can't see many other players that can step up in that Wolves squad and score us goals and keep us in games and do those magic moments. So I think we're in a mess now. It's going to be a 4-5 game ban, isn't it, realistically? And we're not in any cups, so we can't even take one on the chin there. So it may well have relegated us. I can't see where a goal's coming from. Strand Larsen, he has enough chances and might score 1 in 300. That Muntensi guy, I've never seen someone miss so many chances on goal in one go. Like, Hwang can't trap a bag of cement again after having his purple patch last year. So Sarabia's not done anything. Bellegarde's about the only hope. So we're in dire straits.
Anyone want to come in? I noticed the other two had both unmuted at the same time, and I thought they were just going to.
Have we made a new signing? Mutetsi, who's that one? Is that a new player we brought in?
I can't pronounce his name.
No, yeah. Look, we are in the shit a bit, but they've got to step up, haven't they? Strand Larsen's got to try and find the form he was doing at the beginning of the season, where he was putting some chances away, and he's got to. Like, I thought he was shit against Bournemouth. I've got to say, I thought he was horrendous against Bournemouth. Again, couldn't trap a bag of cement. So he's really got to improve. Wangi Chan's just come back from injury. He was on the bench, wasn't he? Can he find form again? He's only got 2 goals this season. He got 12 last year in the Premier League. You've seen that arse. So talking to someone who don't seem arsed, he don't. I don't know if that's just the way he is in his demeanour lately. But yeah, we're in trouble. But I just seen Sutty in the comments said about we shouldn't have fielded a strong team. I repeat what I said a minute ago. I disagree, Sutty. What's the point? You sound like Fosun when you say that, because they just want the money of the Premier League. I know there's not much money in the FA Cup, but as a fan, I want to see us get as far in the FA Cup as possible. And I think you should be able to cope as a professional football club to play your strongest team in 2 competitions. Because like I said, what is the point? I don't want to spend the next 5-6 years just watching Wolves battle relegation and come mid-table. I'm sorry, we want some memories. Although that FA Cup semi-final against Watford was horrible, it was a memory. The Europa League was an amazing memory. People still talk about the late 90s when we got to the semi-final at Villa Park against Arsenal. That's what I want. I don't want to talk about the seasons when we come fucking 16th or 10th under Bruno Lage. So yeah, he just really got my goat about that, or people saying we should have fielded a weak team.
Jack, bring in that.
I totally agree. I was pleased when I saw the team, to be honest. I think we suspected it probably will have to be quite strong just because of numbers, really. And our bench isn't notoriously the strongest that we have the luxury of being able to rotate. So yeah, I was pleased with it. So when I was saying earlier about it was the worst possible thing that could happen, that was kind of just in hindsight. I'd rather have this than have no Cunha and lose on penalties despite having a penalty to win it. Let's talk about that for a minute, because we get there and it all's going a bit bloody well, isn't it, really? Like, Johnson's had an absolute blinder whole game. He's saved one. He probably should have saved another, to be honest, which we kind of forget about, which he got really close to. And you've got Doherty stepping up. You think, well, maybe this last one would have been Cunha if he was on the pitch. And, like, just the thing that just grinds on me is when you're in that situation and you have, doesn't matter whether it's the World Cup final or it's bloody Sunday League, bloody, cup game, if I've got a penalty to win it, you have to hit the target. If you hit it hard and on target, you give yourself a chance. And the thing that's really unforgivable is just, a senior pro like Matt Doherty, he's been here 10 plus years. Just put your foot through it and smack it down the middle, man. Just do something to make the keeper save it. If the keeper saves it, then fair enough, but don't miss the target. And a Premier League footballer shouldn't be missing the target from that far out, I don't think, and stop trying to be clever, because we saw it in that shootout as well. If you just hit it hard, it can go through the keeper. You just need to hit it hard and on target and at least gives them a question to answer. So we bottled it, really. And I think I'm not going to slag off like Doherty because he's done well this season after coming back in the team or anything, but he should be doing better there, because we really had a chance to, as Harry said earlier, get out of jail really and completely shithouse going through. But it's just it. And all these people now saying, like you say, Harry, they're not that bothered. Sam and I watched it together, and I said like halfway through extra time, like, I can't believe how bothered I am about this, because I was properly into it. I've never seen us face so many corners, I don't think, in the same game. It was just relentless. Like, I don't know how many it was in the end, but it was just like they were getting treble corners back to back, like constantly. So whoever's back in the overs on corners would have definitely won some money. But just every time we seemed to deal with it all right, actually. And that was giving me hope. It was like, I think it's just going to be our day, because they keep missing chances. They're having a lot of the ball. They're not actually doing much when they do get these balls in the box. And it was all there. It was there to be written. Oh, we'll win on penalties. Doty steps up, puts it wide.
Yeah, I think we did forget though. Sorry, Harry, just to say that I know we're giving Doty a lot of stick, and I think because when you have an opportunity to win it and then you miss, I think that is so much more deflating. But I mean, there was some research on penalty shootouts, and actually more times than not, if you take first, you will win a penalty shootout. So even fuck that up. But everyone forgets that, Traore hit the bar. Absolutely.
That was unlucky, that one.
It was really, really unlucky. But, that's just one of those where it goes back to Jack's point that if you step up, and when you hit it as hard as you can, it's most likely going to go a little bit more up in the air like that.
Look at Ait-Nouri.
Yeah.
Ait-Nouri is an inch higher. It's a bar and goes out. It hit the bar and went in. He's like Traore, inch lower. He looks like Ait-Nouri. I don't blame Doherty at all. It's one of those. It's a lottery, a penalty shootout. I agree a professional footballer should be hitting the target. There's no doubt about that. But look how shit their penalty was, the one that Johnson saved. Little daisy cutter at him, near enough down the middle. He probably should have saved another one, Johnston. But like I say, I thought he was heroic on the day. And it's just one of them. It's a lottery, isn't it? Once you go into a penalty shootout, it is a lottery. You don't know who's going to win it. But yeah, I just want to pick up the point Jack was saying about how good we defended. Because like I said, I'm going back to the criticism on Vitor. He said after the game he was proud of the lads. And everyone's like, how can you say that? We defended for the whole game. We got battered. Because Bournemouth are a really good team. I know we beat them 1-0 the week before, but they had 10 men for 75 minutes. So we had to attack a bit. Like, you've got to, if you've got an extra man. So I thought, like I said, Doty was unbelievable. And some of the defending, our set-piece defending has been horrendous this year. But like Jack said, we just defended about 1 million corners and kept clearing them. We had a bit of luck as well. So, yeah, defensively, we were brilliant. And the lads were cramping up. Bloody Ait-Nouri was doing Ramadan, wasn't he? He wouldn't even allowed to eat or drink, and he's running round for 120 minutes, bags his penalty. Fair play. I thought we defended quite well. But, yeah, disappointing to go out the way we did. And Cunha let them down.
Dan, do you think it is just a luck of the draw, or do you think the pressure just got too much for him in the end, and it was just one of those days where he misses and we feel deflated, and then you most likely go on and lose it? Half for one.
Yeah, half for one, 6 dozen the other. But again, man, it's professional sport, and these guys are on top whack. So they've got to be able to deliver in these vital moments. And I think this is why I'm so worried, is that there's going to be some really pivotal moments over the next 6 weeks. Someone's got to step up and do it. Who's it going to be? I can't see who it is.
Well, it won't be Cunha, because obviously he's got a 3-match ban. The FA have charged him with, is it improper conduct, I think, on top of that 3-game ban. So Wolves have a period of working days to reply to that. Apparently, the Ipswich suspension won't play a part in that. So they won't, I guess, look at his former shenanigans, but I don't see how
prior
you
convictions.
can't. I don't know how you can avoid it really, because I mean, it'd just be unconscious bias if anything else. Harry.
Yeah, well, on that Ipswich one, like we said before we come on, he originally got a 3-game ban, but the only reason he got reduced because he sent him a letter and said, "Sorry, I'll buy you some new glasses." What's he going to do this time? Say, "Sorry, Bournemouth defender, for swinging a punch, headbutting you and kicking you. I take it back."
Yeah,
Send
you
him
can have
some
a free
like
hit at
boxing
me.
gloves or something. Yeah. Come and meet
That's
me.
the
We'll go
thing, yeah.
sparring. I'll tie my hands behind my back and we're leaving it up. 2-game ban. So yeah, it's looking like a 5 or 6 game in total, isn't it? I'll be very surprised. I'll be very surprised if he don't get more than what. If he only gets 1, I'd be surprised. 1 extra one on the free he's already got. We will talk. Sorry, Jack. I've got to mention something before we move on. It's come to my head. Did anybody see Raul Jimenez in the Fulham Man United penalty shootout? Unbelievable. So obviously Fulham beat Man United on penalties. Raul Jimenez scored his penalty. There's some footage come out that a fan was filming from behind the goal, so behind the penalty shootout. Raul Jimenez stood there because obviously he's really good at penalties. I know he missed for us against Sevilla. We know that. But Raul is so good. But Raul's so good at penalties. He was stood behind every single Man United player, looking at their Fulham goalkeeper and pointing. And every way he pointed when they were running up, they went that way. He can tell by their body language. Yeah, I was surprised you hadn't seen that. It's gone around quite a lot. So, and the one time the goalkeeper ignored Raul, they went the way Raul said had scored. But when he listened to Raul, he went the way Raul said and he saved him. So I just thought it was very interesting. And I was thinking, God, I wish we had Raul for our penalty shootout.
Well,
He should have pointed at Johnston. I just want to bring that up, yeah. Bit of nostalgia, and I was crying, wanting Raul Jimenez back for YouTube views and ability.
I mean, the 3-game ban for Cunha will obviously no Everton, Southampton away, West Ham at home. And then the other ones that it could affect is arguably the biggest of the upcoming ones, which is Ipswich away.
Yeah.
The irony, obviously, with what happened after the reverse fixture. And then it's Spurs at home, Man United away. So, I mean, some people have been saying it could be 4, as many as 6, others are saying. So it could be those next 6, no Cunha. Let's have a look at that Everton game. I'll start with Jack. He's obviously going to be forced into a change. I imagine it will be your mate Strand Larsen up front. And what are your thoughts on him? Are you still his biggest fanboy, or are you?
You can't ask me this, because the reason you're asking this is he's just come back from injury. He didn't play very well the other day, so I'm not. I don't think we played very well as a team or as a unit, particularly against Bournemouth. Apart from maybe defensively. So I'm not going to go all guns blazing in on him, but I think we will have to rely on him now, like we've seen. But I just kind of keep thinking back because I'm stupid and a Wolves fan. I was sort of thinking it's got a lot better lately. The performances have got better. We are winning games. There's a little bit of daylight between us and the relegation zone. So I was just starting to think, you know what? I think we'll be all right after these 4 games, and something has to happen that just starts putting that doubt back in my mind, doesn't it? And it's that Cunha incident, because we've seen it before that we play a lot better with him in the team, don't we? So it's one of those where however we do it, if we do stay up this season, which I still think we will, we'll do it the hard way, won't we? It's not going to be done the easy way, because that's the way we always do things. So Strand Larsen will play. Who did you change for Cunha? Manetzi, maybe?
Wang.
What, do you not think it was surprising that Hwang didn't come on at least to take a penalty against Bournemouth?
Yes. He's just come back, maybe. Yeah, it is a surprise, actually.
It's one kick of the ball, Harry.
Well, that could injure him. He's back record, that could injure him. One job could injure Hwang. Never mind a kick of the ball.
I'm sorry. If you're not fit enough to take one penalty, you shouldn't even be anywhere near the bench, in my opinion.
That's true.
He must not be fully fit to not be brought on. He must not be. Because the fact he didn't even come on is quite surprising, especially when Cunha's running around with a bloody hamstring injury in extra time. Whether we'd use all that by that point, I don't know.
No, we forgot to mention with Cunha.
We should have used it. We forgot to mention with Cunha his bloody behaviour since the ban. Posting his goal on social media and not saying sorry while he posted it, just advertising himself. He eventually says sorry in a really weird way, saying, sorry, you guys couldn't do it or something stupid. And then the day after, he posts a fan mail saying, thanks to the true fans, as if to go, why does everyone have a go at me type thing? And he's been blocking people. And his behaviour since has been just not as bad as his actual actions on the day, but just don't carry himself very well.
I might put it out there. He won't play for Wolves again.
Don't be silly. He will. But I think he's probably. I don't know. Part of me was sort of thinking, like, does he not want to take a penalty? Like, what's he done that for? It's stupid. Another part of me is thinking, does he not want to get injured? So if he's banned for 6 games, he's much more likely to get through the season fit. Like, those were just the 2 things that crossed my mind. I don't think it's either of them. I think he's just lost the plot a little bit, to be honest, and he's standing his ground rather than coming out and properly apologising. But whatever. If he comes back and he's got his head in the right place and he does well after whatever ban he gets, which I think it'd be. People keep saying 6. I think 6 will be a bit harsh, wouldn't it? I think it's probably like 3 plus an extra 1 for being a dick afterwards is probably what I'd expect. But in probably the run of the 4 biggest games in our season, couldn't make it up.
Yeah, very true. It's a shame, really, because obviously, when you pin your hopes on one player like that and that happens, as we've already said, it's the worst possible outcome that you could probably have thought of. But with the Everton game, we've lost just one of our last 7 Premier League home games against Everton, winning 3, drawing 3. Winning this exact fixture 3-0 last season. Everton's 4-0 win in the reverse fixture ended a 6-game winless run against Wolves for the Toffees, drawing 1, losing 5. Only in 2020-21 have they ever done the Premier League double over Wolves. Meanwhile, Wolves have lost 15 in the last 20. This is shocking. 15 in the last 22 Premier League home games, winning 6, drawing 1 in a run stretching back to February 2024. The previous 15 league defeats at Molineux came over a course of 45 games between October 21 and December 23, winning 21, drawing 9. Bayliss, to do anything, you have to do well at home, whether that's avoid relegation or win the league. We're just not doing that at the moment.
No, I'm just going to keep repeating myself. I'm despondent with it. We are not good enough at the moment, and the one thing that could save us is no longer there. Our form's not great. Everton have got Beto playing up front, who is in form, scoring goals, and they're now picking up results. We've got the one guy that can change it for us now sat in the stands for our 3 games that we needed to pick 3 points up each from. I can't see where it's coming from. Someone tell me who's going to score the goals to win us the game on Saturday night.
Harry, who's going to score the goals to win us the game on Saturday night?
Manetzi's going to get a hat-trick. No, I'm joking. Well, I did...
doesn't know where the goal is.
Yeah, I did a preview video on mine, and I know, funnily enough, talking about Cunha's Instagram, he put underneath that Bellegarde's won Player of the Month in February, but I actually wouldn't start him myself. I think Vitor probably will. But it depends on the fitness of Hwang Hee-chan whether he'll start. Obviously, Strand Larsen will start. And the only reason I put Manetzi in there, I know he can't hit the back of a Renault Spas, as Mike Bassett would say. But I just he got in so many positions. He's due one, isn't he? He's due one, hopefully. So I'd put him in there with maybe Bellegarde. But it didn't work against Fulham, did it? At all. Didn't work against Fulham at all. So what's happened? Jack ran off.
I think so. You scared him away.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So Manetzi and Bellegarde didn't work against Fulham with Cunha. So maybe have Strand Larsen Hwang if he's fit enough with Manetzi or Bellegarde like in behind, in front of Andre and João Gomez. I know Boubacar Traoré is back now. He's another option, and Tommy Doyle, but Tommy Doyle seems to be right at the back of that pecking order. And Rodrigo Gomez is back, isn't he? That's a bit of good news. He's put a statement out on the Wolves website, so he'll be battling to get back in. Whether you could put him further up the pitch, put him as one of the 3, because I think he's got the energy and he can finish. He showed that at Bristol away in the FA Cup, where he took that goal really well. So there's options. Whether Giga starts, I think it'll be Santi, Doherty and Totti myself, but I thought Giga did okay. And we haven't mentioned it. I thought shout out to Alfie Pond as well. He came on in a very tough situation away at Bournemouth at right wing back, and even though he's a centre half, and I thought he did quite well, considering the high pressure situation. So plenty of options there. And I don't know what Vitor will do, but the big one, obviously, as Bayliss has said, is who's going to replace Cunha's goals. And let's be honest, I'm just trying to be optimistic when I say Hwang or Manetzi might, but I'm not holding my breath. But they've got to stand up and try and do it.
Yeah, I think Strand Larsen's hold-up play really, really does need to improve if we're to get any success. And maybe a partnership with Manetzi may well work, but we'll see about that. I think the game could come soon enough for Rodrigo Gomez, who's apparently back in full training. It may just come a little bit too soon for him now, I think, just given the type of injury. I think Guedes is probably going to be out for that one as well, and Agbadou still no sign on a return date for him as well. Go on, Jack.
I was just when you said Agbadou, then it's just sort of thinking, if you had a player who's come in, well, probably actually a few times, but made such an impact so quickly that we're already missing him, despite he's only played a handful of times for us in the first place. And I think, he's made a massive difference since he's not been there. But it's one of those things, isn't it? But it's a squad game, but it's just a shame because would really help us in this situation.
Agree, yeah, because I mean, he's what a month's worth of games, and obviously we didn't get to his Wolves career. His anyway, after the best of starts, obviously with the Newcastle and the Chelsea games, where we've just got the shipping goals and Forest in there as well. But Bayliss, we talk about the impact of managers. Everton are now unbeaten in the last 7. David Moyes, I think, was splitting opinion as somebody who would be a potential replacement for Gary O'Neill, possibly justified in his reasoning to go back there. He's obviously made a big difference replacing Sean Dyche. Do you expect a Moyes team to be difficult to break down? He seems to be getting the best out of those players.
Yeah, I think I ended up watching them. I can't remember which game it was now, but I thought they played quite well, and they've got goal threats. They're well structured as well. We're playing against a decent side that have fought their way out of that relegation scrap and are now safe and are starting to pick up points and goals. So yeah, we're playing a tougher side than probably Bournemouth.
Harry, score prediction?
I'll be optimistic and say 1-1. Because like Bailey said, Everton are flying. They really are. I know they're just above us in the league, but the way they're playing and the confidence they're playing with, if they'd have had Moyes all season and been playing like this, they'd be top 10. So it's a very tough game, especially with them full of confidence. I'll go 1-1. That's being optimistic.
Is that with an own goal? Is that our goal?
A Manetti header for us and a Manetti own goal header for them. Yeah.
Jack, score prediction?
2-1 Everton, followed by an absolute meltdown everywhere.
Okay. Bayliss?
Well, I'd already predetermined this, but a 2-0 Everton, because I can't see where a goal's going to come from, and a massive meltdown afterwards.
The last time Bailey's predicted a 2-0 loss, we won 1-0, so back 1-0 Wolves.
There you go, sorted. Talking about backing things, Bayliss has some bets.
Yeah, I did these earlier with some very rose-tinted specs on before we actually thought about football. Although on a bet builder, Wolves to win and just both teams to score, you can get around 4-1, which I don't think is a bad bet in general.
Mm-hmm.
A 2-1 Wolves, Bellegarde to get the first goal, 90-1.
Ooh, big odds.
What's actually going to happen is Beto first goal, 2-0 Everton is 32-1.
2-1.
Harry, your 1-1 draw with Aït-Nouri getting the first goal. You can get 100-1 for that.
Yep.
And the last one.
Wonder why.
If I'm to be believed that I predict 2-0 and we win 1-0, a 1-0 Wolves, Doherty to get the goal is 80-1.
The Doherty redemption.
That's quite low. That's low.
That's crap. Yeah, that's crap.
If 1-1 and 8-0 is 100-1, that 1-0 Wolves and Doc should be.
Do you know what's Semedo? Because he's been getting in some bloody good positions lately, and he should have scored already. But
massive odds. He's always I always back Semedo. I always back him for a goal. He's always above 60-1.
If you talk amongst yourselves for about a minute, I'll get it.
Yeah. I had him against.
He gets through on goal, doesn't he? Every now and again, and he goes past one or two players. You think, oh hello, and then he just puts it wide.
I had him against. I had him 80-1 first goal scorer against Bournemouth in the league, and he hit the post, didn't he?
When he hit the post, yeah.
Yeah. I always have like a cheeky few quid on him, Semedo, but like he just never. I remember against Spurs in that 2-2 draw. First 3 minutes, he got put through and hit it straight at the keeper. There's been a few times where I've been like, go on.
That's it. We're lumping on Semedo Saturday.
Yeah, everybody lumped on Semedo.
First goal scorer, 18-1 any time.
It's got to be first goal scorer.
What was the first bit? 40?
Yeah.
You say?
That's low. 40. That's the lowest I've seen it. I bet he's Totti like 60 on. Right, so sometimes that Totti as well. The player, not as in the female race.
Tossi's 33-1.
Oh, first goal. Semedo. That's low odds. Maybe are we favourites to win in general, or are we just that's why then if we're underdogs like Bournemouth away, Semedo's like 80 plus just to score first. Interesting.
Yeah, we're favourites. Everton's a great bet for an ACCA.
Yeah, because we know money.
Yeah, I'm shocked we're favourites for that one, given the Cunha situation. Although one player does not make a team. Let's have a look at the World Cup. Basically, going to start with you here because Coldplay, your favourite band, are going to pick the 2026 World Cup final half-time acts. Aside from the world's greatest band, obviously helping to deliver that, what do you think of having a half-time show?
Well, as you know, Sam, some people voted for the Nazis and some people listen to Coldplay.
You can't trust people.
And you can't trust people, Jez. It's in America. Like, they were always going to Americanize the hell out of it, weren't they? Like, do you know what? I'm not really that fussed. Crack on with it. If you got, I don't know, some rapper whose name I will never ever know or care to know, doing a little bit with a few fireworks at half time, it's better than listening to fucking Ali McCoist or something, isn't it?
I don't know. Jack, what do you think? I mean, it's very, very Americanized thing, isn't it? Is it just because it's obviously, as Dan said, across the US, Mexico, and Canada?
Hate the idea, to be honest, and I can see if
why. What else do you do?
It's just annoying, isn't it? They're trying to just influence our game so much with like no bloody relegation and these sorts of things. It's just another example of them trying to Americanize things. And I know it's in America, but like I kind of just that they'll get away with it because it's in America. What I want them to do is just trial it like at Millwall or something on a halftime show and actually listen to what the fans want to sort of sing about. But
they only do it at the Super Bowl.
But I'd imagine like half the people, the majority of people, if you're watching your team in a World Cup final, you've got no interest if bloody Rihanna's popping up at halftime. It'll just be people stood there with their phones and you're thinking, bloody hell, it's 1-1 in the World Cup here. We're about to win that. And all it's going to do is then push demand for those tickets, which are already like gold dust, into people who just want to go there and film Rihanna or Beyonce or, you know, Eminem, whoever it might be, who's
show your age more.
And I don't know.
A Little Richard or Queen.
but like
hello, fellow kids.
You're missing the point here of my thing. It's gonna mean that people are just gonna go because they want to film that and put it on fucking TikTok. So I hate it.
Do you think? I think the Americans obviously are a bit stupid because obviously we've just had the Super Bowl, so you've had all of the content coming through our screens of like which is bigger, the World Cup final or the Super Bowl, and all the Americans go, oh well, it's the Super Bowl, obviously, and like 127 million people I think watch the Super Bowl and 1.4 billion people watch the World Cup final. So I mean, there's a massive disconnect between what Americans think makes good sporting spectacle and how many people actually watch it. So Harry, do you think Americanizing it is actually going to do anything for the viewing figures, or do you think people will just be watching regardless because it's the World Cup? I mean, you get obviously a little bit of a breakdown of punditry at halftime, and it's nice to go and have a beer and stuff. So maybe you won't even see it anyway.
Well, as someone who has never watched a full game of NFL or even is interested to or even understands what's going on, I have heard of the halftime Super Bowl show, and it's spoke about every year without fail. And how shit they are, how good they are, the halftime show. It's never about the fucking game. I couldn't tell you who won the last Super Bowl, but I can tell you that Kendrick Lamar was shit on the halftime show. It's everywhere. So I get why they're doing it, because they're trying to get people who are American saying, soccer's shit. But, Eminem was good when he rapped at halftime where England were 3-0 up against Germany. That's never going to happen. I get it. But I also agree with Jack. It's a load of fucking bollocks. Leave the game alone. The reason they need a halftime show in NFL is it's a shit sport that no one likes to watch.
We're being so hypocritical because before the Super Bowl this year, Post Malone did a YouTube live gig outside the stadium, and it was all right.
Was he alone as well? Ironically, because I can't remember that. Okay, now
it was streamed live on YouTube, like us four idiots, and that's what they're trying to do: get new people watching sport through alternate things. I'm not knocking it.
America's the only country that needs encouragement to watch football, though. It's their problem. And it's because they live in this little bubble where they think the world revolves around them, which, you could say politically it kind of does sometimes. But I don't think we should just be, it's their World Cup. They can do it. But I don't want this to be a thing which happens every time. Because it's just going to get a bit boring. It's the same with like the opening shows of the World Cup or the opening shows of the Olympics. It just gets a bit boring after 10 minutes. So
can you name me last World Cup? The Qatar. Yeah, the last World Cup, the Qatar one. Was that the last one?
Yeah.
Tell me who opened that show. Who was the act they booked? The main.
It was 2 beheadings and a hand chop off.
No, the pop star. Can you name me who it was? Because obviously with the World Cup, they always have an opening act, don't they? Can you remember who it was?
Was it Shakira?
No, it was Robbie Williams.
Was it?
I remember it.
I watched
no one remembers that. So they're doing it the other way around. Usually for the World Cup, they have an opening act, don't they, on the opening night? All I remember, the most iconic opening night was the Vuvuzelas at the South Africa one. When it was, that's what I remember from that one. Remember them, the annoying Vuvuzelas?
But that was unique to it. It gave it a bit of atmosphere, didn't it? But now it's all just going to be, have a hot dog and watch the halftime show.
Well, there we go. A halftime show is unique to America, so I guess that makes sense.
You aren't being forced
a halftime beheading would be good for Saudi Arabia.
Who do you think will play? Who would you?
I assumed it was going to be Coldplay because I think with it being, a mainly European audience, I think football fans. I think it should probably be a band rather than a rapper. But maybe that's just my personal opinion.
Sabrina Carpenter, the one who was at the Brits sucking someone off the other day. Have you seen that clip of her going down her hands and knees? Well, she went down her hands and knees and pretended to give a royal guard a blowjob. Did you see that clip go around?
I've seen.
Okay, well, I think it should be her then.
She's the new Taylor Swift.
I actually don't know who Sabrina Carpenter is.
She's like the big pop star at the moment. She's a carpenter by trade, but she started singing. So
I thought the Karen Carpenter in the 70s. Yeah,
it'd be right up Jack Street, I think.
Or it'd be Taylor Swift, or it'd be Maya Jama because she's dating Ruben Diaz. She don't sing though, does she? She just present them. I don't know. It'll be someone like
You're just naming people now, Harry. Get the phone out.
The Popular Culture podcast.
I think I've lost control of the guests again. This is happening more frequently now.
Do we talk about that Netflix documentary again, Jeff?
Do you know what? I watched that the other day. It's very good.
Gabby Petito.
Yeah, Gabby Petito.
Don't say that, Harry.
That sounds like
anyway.
That sounds like a pop star name, to be fair. Yeah, go on, wrap it up, Sam.
Wrap it up. Excellent. Right. Well, look, best of luck if you're making your way to the late kickoff, isn't it? At Molineux at the weekend. We'll say goodbye to Harry Mansell.
See you in a bit.
Yeah, we are in dire straits. We've just put that road in 0707. Jack Williams.
Can you imagine like your team's losing 4-0 in the World Cup final and then you've got to watch Coldplay for 15 minutes? It's the stuff of nightmare, isn't it?
It was bad enough at Glastonbury when we
It's goodbye from Dan Bayliss.
From dire straits to the Carpenters. Goodbye.
And it's a goodbye from me. Goodbye.